Okay.
Oh, use your dinger this week when you've got comments, and we'll just go on the dinger. Did you catch that?
Speedway Tavern.
Gotta put blocks all those.
Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy your stay. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. What's the news today? Have a drink, have your say. All opinions here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Enjoy your stay. Webby, GA, and Matt are here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern. Come and have your say.
It's at this point in the show that I normally get on my high horse and pontificate from a position, probably false, of moral superiority about something in Speedway that is plainly ridiculous. Maybe a decision by the powers that be, or a promoter / rider / supporter / Mark Robinson doing or saying something that is at best stupid. I would usually then finish by saying only in Speedway. Well, I can't do that because this week none of those things have happened. I can, however, say, what you playing at, Chris? Only on the Speedway Tavern.
It was nothing to do with me, as you know.
It's everything to do with you. What did you do in the end? Turn it off.
Turn it off and
turn it back on again.
Oh, no, that old system. That's all right.
Martin Kerry obviously spent the last half an hour shouting at his computers.
Yes.
I'm still not sure everybody can hear us, so...
Oh, God. So first thing is, if you can hear us, put something on just to tell us you can hear us. If you can't hear us...
Where are you?
Well, don't put anything on. In the Speedway Tavern tonight, we have got our best friend... What's your name again? Matt Buck. We have got Chris Webby Brown. I'm forgetting all the words and everything.
Good evening.
And who am I again? Oh, yeah, Michael Harris.
That's a very good question, actually. Yeah. So we have to ask that every week. So.
Oh, apparently people can hear us.
Oh, that's good, I think.
Very sorry about that.
Apologies for that. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Wow. Gentlemen, good match at Wolverhampton last night.
Well, first thing to say, what a meeting.
Oh, actually, I'm really sorry. Yeah. Before we get into that, Chris, tell everybody how they can join in.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so if you're not already watching and listening on Facebook, you can also listen to us on YouTube. Search for UK Speedway Tavern, and also on our Twitter feed, which is also UK Speedway Tavern. And please let us know you're there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and we do read your comments out, and we do our best to sound as if we know what we're talking about. And we sometimes very rarely succeed. Right, yeah, great meeting at Wolverhampton last night.
Absolutely. One of the best, probably the best meeting I've seen at Wolves for quite a long time, to be honest. Whisper it quietly, the outside line seems to be making a bit of a comeback. There was some great passing on the outside. Nick Morris's pass on Steve Worrell in heat number 3. I think it's on the Speedway GP website, certainly on their Twitter feed. Go and watch that. It was a terrific piece of riding from Nick. He timed it absolutely to perfection. Dan Bewley as well pulled off another great ride in heat number 13 to go around Sam Masters, who's been flying this season. But I honestly thought after heat 8 it had gone. You know, Bellevue were 8 points in front. They were probably the first team I've seen come to Monmore Green and really bully Wolves, to be honest. They were sort of riding very hard first corners, which hasn't really been the case so far this season.
And you sort of need to do at Wolverhampton, don't you?
Yeah, you do. And you got to say hats off to Bellevue. They deserved the point that they got it in the end, although they'll be disappointed that they didn't see out the win. Two very strong teams, arguably the two strongest teams in the league at the moment. I think. I know Peterborough are having a good season as well. But really the turning point for Wolves, I think, was Ryan Douglas, who hadn't done anything really of note in his first 3 races. Really needed to come to the party, and 2 paid wins in his last his last 2 rides. Really swung the meeting in Wolves' direction. But there were so many positive things to take out of that. The size of the crowd, the atmosphere was fantastic. The quality of the racing was exceptional. I've seen 4 or 5 really, really good meetings in the last few weeks. Not just at Wolves, but also at Perry Bar as well. We'll come on to that later on. So, in this strangest of season, we are being treated to some fantastic racing. I think after missing 20 months of Speedway in this country, then I think we're all absolutely ecstatic about that. So,
I mean, it's been some strange results this week as well, hasn't there?
There has been. I don't think anybody would have expected Birmingham to beat Redcar by 20 points last week.
Well, what did I predict?
I think you predicted 2 points,
2
didn't you?
points,
So,
yeah.
I don't think. Leicester losing against Poole at home was a bit of a surprise. I know Poole was strong, but Leicester, obviously, I think with Hans Andersen now in the team, I think they've really, strengthened up considerably.
Bellevue at Peterborough. That was.
Yeah, a little bit there. Kings Lynn, of course.
got
Kings
the
Lynn,
first.
of course, did really plays with Kings Lynn as well, because it would have been. They've had such a horrible season, haven't they?
Gosh, yes.
At Saddlebow Road, and I think they certainly warranted. I mean, they were very unlucky not to come away with at least a draw at Sheffield the week before, weren't they? So to finally get a win and to beat Bellevue as well, who've been strong. Bellevue at the moment look a little bit suspect away. I mean, they've had 2 wins at Peterborough, but they really threw it away last night. Obviously losing at Kings Lynn as well. So
I suppose Peterborough is a similar sort of track. It's full throttle track as Bellevue, isn't it? So
yeah, that's right. So
that might explain that one.
yeah, but as I say, again, some superb racing the last couple of Mondays at Wolves, and obviously the last meeting at Perry Bar was some really good action as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's talk about which was a great meeting. That you mentioned earlier that the points didn't sort of.
No, it didn't
reflect the meeting. Racing was closer than that.
Redcar for me were really let down by Charles Wright. I think I was very disappointed with him. Because it's a track he normally rides very well.
It is a track.
He came good towards the end. He had a couple of great races with Chris Harris. He really, especially 813, he threw everything he could have bomber, didn't he? But
bomber wasn't moving.
That's right. Yeah. The track admittedly was getting a little bit dustier towards the end of the meeting. They did keep the dust down well, to be honest, considering how hot it was.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I know that how much. I think somebody told me it was something like 18,000 gallons of water they shoved on that track that night. We've had about 18,000 gallons of water shoved up in about 2 seconds earlier, but. There's nothing you could do about it. They kept watering it through the night as well.
Yeah.
But as fast as it was going on, it was just drying.
Track's getting better, isn't it, at Perry Bar every week? Really is improving,
absolutely.
to be honest.
And got to say, the guy who's doing it now, Dixie, I think his name
Dixie
is.
Dean. Yeah.
Dixie Dean, doing a great job.
Great name.
Yeah, great name. Yeah, great name.
But the meeting itself, the thing that I was most pleased about for the whole meeting was Paco Castagna's last ride.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden he went out into the dirt. And he stayed there for the whole 4 laps. And he's like, you could see him thinking, oh, this is quite good, actually. And I think he learnt something. And obviously he won that race. I think he even went past Jake Allen, didn't he?
Yeah, Jake Allen rode really. He was the pick of the Redcar riders, wasn't he? He rode very well. So
was unbeaten up until that point, I think.
Yeah, he had a great race with Ashley. I mean, I've got to say, Ashley Morris rode brilliantly as well.
Wasn't Ash great?
Yeah,
you can go through the whole team and say that. I mean, some great passes by James Shanes. Valentin Grabo did a lot better than people were expecting.
Eric Riss was excellent.
He looked as if he hadn't been away.
Yeah.
So it was a great night. A good meeting, good result for Birmingham, and and the reward, it's such as it is for winning that, is to go to Edinburgh. But more on that later, I guess. We got any comments coming up?
Evening, chaps. Another week, another show. Been looking forward to this all week, especially as I'm sat watching Munchings on some great Yarmouth Rock. Fantastic result for Wolves last night. Gutted I wasn't there for what sounds like a great meeting, says Dylan Spuddy Hodge.
Yeah, it's fantastic, Dylan. You know, big thing as well was the crowd and, as I say, the atmosphere. And there's always a great atmosphere when Bellevue come, because Bellevue always bring quite a lot down, to be honest. They didn't bring as many as they have done in the past last night, but as is normal, they were very, very vocal. Except towards the end, obviously. So,
And apparently people can hear us. And good evening, Barry Bishop. Evening, one and all.
Evening, Barry Bishop. Wasn't he on Neighbours?
He disappeared, didn't he, for about 5 years? Didn't he? So.
Everybody needs good neighbours.
Yeah.
Oh.
Some strange results. Paul winning at Leicester, 2 away wins in the Scottish derbies, said Simon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Glasgow went to Edinburgh and won, and then Edinburgh
went to Glasgow
replayed the
and
compliments
won,
and went to Glasgow and won, didn't they? So.
I mean, we should say, bringing that up as well, at Ulrich Ostergaard.
Yeah. He's had a fantastic start of the season as well. We've both obviously met him, and he's a smashing fellow, Ulrich, as well. And get well soon, Ulrich, mate.
Yeah, it didn't sound a very nice.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, but as ever, he seems to be in good spirits. So get better soon, Ulrich.
Plenty of comments. I think the 20-minute track at grade after Heat 11 killed the Aces' momentum. Even the referee had to put the red lights on and tell them to get off the track. It started raining as well, and they even brought the water truck onto the track.
Any comments to make on that?
Yeah, he did seem a very long. It did play into Wolves' hands, to be honest, because I thought one or two of the Bellevue riders in the last few races didn't really fancy it. I mean, the track wasn't. The track was great. I wouldn't say it would. It was not as if it had puddles all over it, but it was greasy, to be honest. But at the end of the day, you've got to adapt to it, and Wolves adapted to it a lot better than Bellevue did in the closing stages of the meeting. But
spoken by true Wolves fans.
To reiterate, though, Bellevue did deserve it would have been a travesty if Bellevue had come away from that meeting with nothing, because they were very, very impressive, especially in the first 8 heats. They just completely did the job on Wolves, but we managed to show some great spirit and come back and win the meeting.
We've got some comments coming up on the British final, so do you want to read a bit of controversy coming up?
From Dylan?
Yes.
Okay. Just saw the British final lineup. Really frustrated to see the 2 reserves. Why on earth is Josh Bates listed as a reserve for the British final when he's barely competed it in a meeting all season? I think Josh would admit he shouldn't be anywhere near that meeting in the main field or a reserve.
It's a bit of a strange one, to be honest, I must admit.
I don't think it is. Follow my logic.
Come on then.
If indeed you can call it logic.
All your nonsense.
The chances are high that they've asked other people to be reserve and they've said,
quite possibly, yeah.
No. And I would imagine if somebody fell out before the meeting started, that they would still be the reserves.
Yeah.
And somebody else would come in. That would be my guess. We shall see. But, only in Speedway. I got one in.
let's get the British final lineup, shall we?
Yes,
let's
please.
Have a quick look, so.
And then we'll tell you who's going to win.
Yeah, we'll have a look then. So let's have a look. We've got, not in draw order, Craig Cook, Dan Bewley, Danny King, Rory Sloan, the defending champion, who's Australian.
And also,
sorry, Rory, I had to get that in. Adam Ellis, Charles Wright, Richard Lawson, Lewis Kerr, Scott Nichols, Chris Harris, Carl Howarth, Anders Rowe, Steve Worrell, Eddie Kennett, Richie Worrell, Ben Barker, and the 2 reserves, the aforementioned Josh Bates and Paul Stark.
Okay. That's a difficult one to pick a winner out, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Disappointing to see. Obviously, I think we knew Ty wasn't going to be in the British final, and also Robert Lambert not in there either. So
yeah, but that's particularly Robert Lambert, I would say. But I'm going to stick my neck out, and I'm going to go for an unusual one. I'm going to say Adam Ellis.
Do you know? I was thinking that myself. He could be a real. He could be a real. Certainly, he'd be a real spoiler because he's riding very, very well.
He is.
Dan Bewley, I think, is going to be one of the favourites. Obviously, he's got home track advantage and he's having a very good season.
And obviously the current, which is
Yeah.
Rory Schlein.
That's it, yeah. He's going to want to try and finish his career on high with the second British title, isn't he? So it'd be, obviously you've got the old stages of Scott Nicholls and Bomber in there, but I think it'd be a surprise if either of them won it, to be honest. I think, particularly Scott, I don't think the new Belvedere track suits him as much as the old one did, to be honest.
Although Chris is riding better than he's ridden for a few years, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think he's been disappointed to have only won 3, to be honest, given how long he's been racing for. It's been about 10 years since he last won it, doesn't it? So it's been quite a long time. So yeah. Anders Rowe, if he's fit, could be a dark horse as well. If he's started off very, very well. Of course, it's August the 16th, so not too long to wait. Obviously, it's the next meeting on Eurosport, I think, so it's a bit of a...
3 days after my birthday, if anybody wants to buy me a card.
Nah.
Or a ticket to Belvedere.
Parking tickets.
Can I say good evening to Colin Richardson, who's in Dubai.
Good evening, Colin
That's nice,
Richardson.
isn't it?
I bet it's not as hot as it is here.
It is warm in here, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, sticky and warm. And
Yeah. I can also say, if anybody wants to phone in the show, they certainly can.
we would love you to phone in.
If you want to phone
into
in,
the
just
show.
let me know. Just send me a message and I'll stick the old equipment on. Said the Bishop to the
Will it work?
Will it work?
It's all set up, ready.
That's why it's so hot today, it's because of his temper, isn't it?
That's what it is.
So let's see people's predictions for the British final and put them up on the chat box, and
Should we
we'll...
put predictions up so we can laugh at you. That's the way that one works. Talking about finals and stuff, there's a GP
There is indeed,
happening
yeah.
this weekend.
2 GPs.
Two GPs, yeah.
Obviously,
Friday and Saturday.
Yeah,
At
Rochlo.
Rochlo. One of the better tracks, you were saying.
Yeah, very good track. Very, very good racetrack. Obviously, I think it was the first Grand Prix ever was staged there in '95. I think it was Rochlo. So, obviously, it's a spiritual home for the GPs.
Well, we're going to start calling you Stato.
I just remember these random things, to be honest.
That's not what you called him last week. Apparently, it's 50 degrees centigrade and 80 degrees of humidity in Dubai at the moment.
You're welcome to it.
We've had that for the last few weeks, haven't we? So
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Not 50
not
degrees,
50
no.
degrees, we haven't.
it's felt like it.
Yeah, I get to 30 and I'm melting.
I saw
so-
that in America at 56 degrees or something. Oh, God, that's hot.
What was it Canada that went up to, I don't know,
Yeah.
something
That's
stupid?
it, yeah, on the West Coast. Yeah.
Anyway, this is a Speedway show, not a weather show.
You're talking to someone who's been in Brazil here, by the way.
Oh, yeah, can you show that?
Yeah. Yeah, you just had to get that one in,
Oh,
basically.
yeah.
Oh, I've been to Brazil.
He wants to really know what the attendances are like over here as well, Colin.
Well, the last 2 attendances at Wolves have been very good. I thought it was a good attendance at Perry Bar last week.
It was better anyway,
Better,
for sure.
yeah.
It was better. That's,
Yeah.
you know.
It always seems to be the way at Perry Bar. You look around the place at about 7:20 and you think,
Oh, dear.
oh dear, and then suddenly they all seem to converge from everywhere.
I think a lot of people go inside, don't they, underneath and
Yeah.
buy food and talk and look
Yeah.
at all the bits and pieces that are there. So,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they go, oh, there's a match on. We better quiet and show people we're here.
2,000 plus at Bellevue, says Elliot,
Yeah.
for the final.
For the final. Okay. What I presume he's talking
Okay.
about the British final.
Yeah, probably,
okay,
yeah.
right.
Elliot says, I think over 1,000 plus at Wolves.
Yeah, it was a very good crowd at Wolves. The last couple of crowds have been very good, so which I think is a relief given the problems that we had before.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
restrictions were lifted, so
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, there's, if you go to see predictions somewhere, I think there's a few. There you go.
No, that's no predictions.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Dylan says I can't see past Dan Bewley. I'd say Dan Bewley, Adam Ellis, and Rory Schlein, top 3. Adam Ellis is getting a few mentions tonight.
yeah, he could be. He's having a good season, isn't he, Adam?
Yes,
So,
he's starting to look the part. He's always looked a tidy rider.
yeah,
Rides very like the guy he looks like, Chris Alder.
does a bit actually. Yeah, so
So maybe it is Chris Holden in disguise.
He's talking about the British final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the GP.
Well, of course, Magic Yanowski, of course, has got home advantage. It's his home track, of course.
Somebody else has got
Ty Woofenden, of course. I think Ty certainly needs a big result, doesn't he? Because he didn't really shine that well in Prague last weekend.
Got to a semi-final,
Yeah,
didn't it?
but didn't. Yeah,
You know, if you're not shining and you get to a semi-final, that's actually quite good, isn't it? You
yeah.
know?
But I mean, as I say, I think we've both said, haven't we? I mean, Magic Yanowski's form this season has been unreal, hasn't he? He's really stepped up a gear, hasn't he? So
Bartek Schmarzlik is showing that what normally happens when you win the thing.
Yep.
You don't get it the next year. He seems to tail off.
Well, of course, he won back-to-back last year, didn't
Well,
he?
he did,
So,
didn't he? Yeah, well, we'll give him a...
yeah.
Yeah, we'll give him a pass on that one then.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the only one who's managed to win 3 in a row, of course, was the late great Ivan Major, wasn't he? So
Not in the GP.
not in the
though.
GP era, of course. Of course,
that's-
even Tony Rickardson or Nicky Benson, they didn't do it. So
No.
Simon
Hans
goes
Nelson.
Bewley or Ellis, and Craig goes the Bewley favourite, but Larson goes well round Bellevue.
Larson, you mean Lawson?
Lawson, sorry.
Richard Lawson, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I didn't realise we was letting the Swedes in as well as the Australians. Sorry, Rory. Which team do we think in the Premiership will be first to make changes? Heard a few rumours about Kings Lynn and Sheffield, but nothing standing out. I'd be surprised if Daniel Hume doesn't end up snapped up in the Premiership sooner than later. Another solid score for him tonight with 12 plus 1 from 6 for Paul.
I can see Sheffield making changes, to be honest, because they're sort of in a rut at the moment, aren't they? It was a poor result again against Peterborough last week.
It's difficult to make changes, though, isn't it? The riders are not...
Well, they mentioned something on the telly, didn't they, about particularly Troy Batchelor, the fact that he's not riding that often, is he? So,
No.
which maybe indicates as to why he's not really been, got into full gear yet. So
So perhaps he needs to double down.
maybe I don't even think he's riding in Europe, is he? So
No.
I might be wrong on that one, but
Nice to see Daniel Hume doing well. He's a rider I've always rated. Don't know how he does at Sheffield.
so you would think it would be the sort of track that would suit him, wouldn't he? A bigger track.
He's quite full throttle sort of
So
rider.
the only, I mean, I like Daniel, and obviously he's a smashing fella as well. But the only thing that worries me about with Daniel is he's a bit injury prone because of the way he rides, unfortunately. So.
Well, I think you can. I mean, you take the look at the likes of Tom Bacon, who's had a few bad injuries,
Yeah.
but he rides very safely, conservatively. You
Yeah.
would almost say very good, but so he doesn't always follow. Does he?
Same with Adam Roynan,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you wouldn't say Adam Roynan was particularly, someone who takes massive amounts of risks, do you? But
Other than getting on a speedway
Bike,
bike, I suppose.
it's a real shame for Adam because I think, had he stayed fit, I think he would have really become a top line rider,
yeah.
to be honest.
I do. I think that. What's Craig Smee saying to us?
Woofy doesn't seem to have the speed he does like previous seasons. I think Magic will stretch his lead this weekend.
He's not gating. That's the problem with Ty.
Well, I mean, he's not gated in seasons before, but
Yeah.
but he's had the speed, which I think is what Craig's. I mean, I think you mentioned last week that you didn't think he was quite as fast as he has been.
He seems to have lost his edge a little bit, I think, to be honest. I know he's got other things going on in his life. Obviously, he's become a father, of course, in the last couple of years. So,
And also, we don't know, do we, how the whole COVID thing has affected him. I
Yeah.
imagine, I don't know whether he managed to get to Australia this year, but I imagine that would have been difficult.
yeah.
So there's all that as well, isn't there? So, yeah, but we're still rooting for you, Waffy, so,
Yeah.
just do the best that you can. We got any more predictions?
Final, Alice. Oh, he's on about the final.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what that is.
Well, but that's the British final.
Ah,
we
right,
can,
okay.
we can have that, yeah.
Okay.
So Ellis and... Is that Schles? Who's
Schlesch.
Schlesch? It must mean Schlein, I'm guessing.
Who's out there that could come in for Sheffield or Kings Lynn that's going to offer more than they already have?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? I can't
Whether you
think.
take a punt on somebody who's not ridden over in this country.
Or if there's somebody that's doing particularly... I mean, that's what Wolverhampton did. They so Leon Flint's going well.
Yeah.
Didn't have a great meeting yesterday, did I?
No, he didn't. To be fair, but it's as I mean,
He's
with experience, he will get better at Monmouth.
That's okay. So I'm going to get in touch with Barry, and he's going to come on in a bit. Okay.
Okay.
All good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Great stuff.
We're going to start doing our predictions at some. We've got quite a few, I think.
We have got quite a few. Yeah, we'll give it another. We'll let Barry come on, and then we'll. Maybe Barry can join in with our predictions.
Well, the Barry, they obviously Isle of Wight had their first meeting last week, didn't they? So obviously we'll find out from Barry how that went.
Mm-hmm. That's okay. So we'll just wait for Barry. Dylan, the first team to make changes has already been done. Kingsley and Ipswich have already made changes. Is that income? Is that that's for the previous comments?
Yeah. I mean, they have.
Yeah.
This is quite an interesting one. I think Plymouth should seriously look at making a change for Crump too. I know he's a legend, but he's having a lot of injuries this season. I think a change would be best for them and Jason, to be honest. Batch to Plymouth could be smart business for both parties. That would be a big decision.
It would be a big decision, to be honest. I mean, I think with Crump, the whole thing with him is obviously there's a element of it, the fact from his points, or even though he's not really scoring the points at the moment, but
when he first started, he was scoring.
Yeah, but there's obviously his influence on a lot of the other younger riders in the team. I mean, if you're a young rider and you've got Jason Crump in the same pit as you're going to learn a hell of a lot from him, to be honest, with the experience that he's got. But
I hope so. Yeah.
As we've said though, it's been a struggle, isn't it, for Jason so far? He's taken a couple of really, really bad knocks already, to be honest. And when you get to that age, you don't heal.
He doesn't normally take knocks either.
No, he doesn't. He never really did before, to be honest.
There was a little comment a bit further.
Sorry.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Simon Corbett reckons that Pedersen will be going to Sheffield because they've nearly finished in Poland.
Is he going to be allowed to?
I don't know.
Bear in mind, of course, he's banned, and
that's an interesting question. Yeah,
and of course the Polish regulations as well. Will they allow him to ride over here?
Can they stop him? If he's, well, we'll see.
Might be able to stop him in the courtroom, I suppose.
Yeah.
To be fair to Nicky, I think he did want to come back and race for Sheffield this year, to be honest. But
I think he likes playing the villain in this country.
Yeah, having him back in British Speedo would have been absolutely fantastic last season, to be honest. I'm sure he'd have been cheered from the rafters at every single away track he went to be honest. But
yeah, yeah, I think you're right on that one. So we're both saying Magic then for the GPs.
Yes,
because he's just on such good form.
Ultimately, Guter could pop out. Of course, he obviously, on his day, he's capable of beating anybody as well. So
he should do his zips up there.
Jimmy.
I believe we have Mr. Barry Bishop on the phone. Oh, no, we're trying to get him on the phone.
Yeah.
Hold on.
It's got the pot there.
We've got
It should be online, eh?
Hello, Barry. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How are you guys?
We're pretty good. You had your first meeting at the Isle of Wight just recently. Tell us how it went.
It was magnificent. It was absolutely brilliant. We were more nervous, Martin and I and all the volunteers. We were more nervous about doing this meeting than even the day we opened. It was, I think the world was trying to watch us, and it had to be right. And luckily, we managed to pull it off. And we had 30 races. We started at 6:15 with the kids on Pee-wees and 125s, and then we had our main event, which was the Island Masters on grass track bikes, which was won by Andrew Appleton. And we interjected that with a Wizard standard meeting against the Weymouth Wildcats. And we also had our world famous chicken chasers back as well. So all in all, it was great. We still had time to do 3 events with the kids. And we finished by 2 minutes past 9. So it was excellent.
Well, it's going some.
Yeah,
30
and we
minutes.
and we were watering like you guys were. You know, it was a scorching hot day. We were watering continually, so we probably had the tractor out a little more than we wanted to put it out, which was basically every 5 races or so, just to after the grass track boys had been around, just to make get rid of the ruts for the speedway guys, and we put down some water at the same time, and it worked a treat. It was excellent.
Fantastic. I also believe that you're sort of getting up to speed now with your school as well.
Yeah, the school's in full swing again now. I'm inundated with requests at the minute, which is a fantastic thing, fantastic feeling, to be honest with you, about kids that either want to come and try, or kids that already have their own kit and want to come and see how we teach. So, I mean, it's fantastic, and that leads into the whole warrior thing, really, where we can bring them. They come and watch little Johnny in the Pee-wee races. Little Johnny says, "Oh, I want to go and ride Pee-wee races, please, Mum and Dad." They call the school, we bring them in, and it's a full circle, isn't it? And so if you look at, for example, Morgan Williams, who will represent the Warriors now, he didn't even know what Speedway was 4 years ago. And so he's come through the school really well, and has progressed from the Wizards, and now will represent the Warriors in our 3-team tournaments against Oxford and Cradley.
Fantastic. So it's all sort of joined together, really.
Yeah, it's one circle of kind of Speedway development, really. So, we try and bring we have Speedway for everybody. So if you're 85 and you want to come and try, we put you onto an appropriate motorcycle for you to ride.
There you go, Chris.
You boys got to come down, yeah.
I was going to get in touch with you about that, and I will get in touch with you about that.
I think that'd be great.
That'd be great.
That'd be great.
And to be honest with you, the school part of it's gone crazy. And to be honest with you, it's almost more busy than doing the Speedway work, because I'm almost at the point of fed up with saying to people, sorry, we can't hire at the moment. We can't hire at the moment because of COVID and it's raising and just about people's safety. And so actually all of our schools at the moment sell out, which is great. And that brings in welcome revenue, of course, but equally it's keeping people on the track, keeping people involved. And we do run quite a slick Speedway school, to be honest with you. It's full on, it's flat out. So and everybody is always too tired at the end of it to stay out for too long, because we've got quite a big old track, haven't we? So but it's excellent, and we have a great team of volunteers. Everybody that comes and does the Speedway meetings and the school meetings are all voluntary, including myself and Martin. And that's been going really, really successful. And we had one young rider, Kai Elliott, who rode in his first 125 race ever. And I actually warned the 2 guys. We had a guy from Guernsey and a guy from Kent, Thomas Vining and Ethan Hoare, 125 riders. I said, guys, our guys are just learning, please, take it easy on them. And Kai Elliott jumped out the start and won his first ever race. Unbelievable. Talk about make me look a complete but it was outstanding, and we've got some really good little prospects that are coming through now that love the sport, love the ethos around what we do. Can't quite understand why we're in the position that we're in, and all that kind of stuff. But you know what we're putting to the market now is a real Speedway show, and it's brilliant. Honestly.
And if I was to sort of come down and to partake of your training, what would the day sort of go through? How would that work?
Well, normally we run them in the evening to planning, so you'd probably arrive at 4 o'clock or so, and you'd be extremely nervous. We'd take you to sign on. I'd reassure you. I'd sit you on the bike. We'd talk you through the bike. We'd talk about your body position. We'd talk about what the main things of the bike does, like the cutout, and what the clutch is and everything else that you need to know. I then ask you if you've got any motorcycle experience at all, and because if you haven't, we've got all sorts of full-size bikes, including a Honda 90 step-through bike in a full-size frame for people that's never ridden before.
Stabilisers as well.
And then
Stabilisers, yeah.
then we get you changed to make you look beautiful, and you get even more nervous at this point. And then we have the safety brief, and away we go. And normally we put the novices, as in those that are hiring, out first, just to get you over that hurdle of actually doing it. And it's the whole everyone that comes supports everybody, and it's just an unbelievable feeling. of achievement, I'd say, that when people come and they've never ridden it before, and I can see their cheeks poking through the crash helmets because they've got such a big grin on their face, and that feeling when they get off and as if to say, God, I've just flipping done it, I've just ridden a speedway bike around a speedway track, and they love it. And actually, you know what, anyone who wants to try speedway, don't just come to the Isle of Wight, use all your speedway training facilities, because if they hire them, you'll have the time of your life, and you'll never forget it.
I guess really that's what makes it so rewarding for yourself and Martin, doesn't it, Barry?
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I really love doing the schools, and I really love seeing kids develop. And we actually, it's not just about riding the bike; it's about maintaining the bike. I make them clean the bike. So if they hire a bike regularly, I make them clean it. It's about and oil it so they know what they're doing. It's also about interaction with people. It's about understanding rules, and it's about being part of a team. And it's all good stuff for them as they go to young adults and then into adulthood, of course.
Brilliant.
Sounds fantastic.
I've just got a question. There's a question. Well, not a question, but somebody who's praising you here. Dylan says, fantastic to see racing back on the island, one of the best promotions in British Speedway. Hopefully things will work out for the next season to see the Warriors back on track in the league. And that's from Dylan.
Yeah, thank you very much. Really appreciate that.
I mean, we've had a lot of comments when you've been on before about the way that you run things at Isle of Wight is just spot on. So
we made another announcement today that I wasn't going to tell anybody about for ages, and that is Bruce Cribb's actually going to ride my ice bike around the stadium on August the 12th.
Wow.
Well, there's two things to say about
and the
it.
only reason, the only reason why I announced it today is because he was so flippin' excited, got home and put it on his own Facebook page saying, look at this is what I'm doing.
That sounds like
Why can't
Cribby.
you just keep it secret for just a week?
Nah.
Just let me get this meeting out of the way. Just keep it quiet. But no. So we kind of put out a little tongue-in-cheek dig at him for not being able to keep a secret today. But I tell you, book your holidays now, everybody. Get over and witness it, because it's going to be full-on entertainment from the minute you walk through the door till you go home.
That'll be your track record gone, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%.
There's
Well,
two things
unless I do it afterwards.
that I would definitely pay to see. Well, there's two things to say about that, which is one, wow, Bruce Cribb, and two, you've got an ice speedway bike.
Yeah, I have it in my bar at home, actually, which is a bit. It's like I've got a little bar in my garden, and I bought it probably 4 years ago from Sweden. So it's a proper race bike. Brought it in and put it on the side there, and basically it was just eye candy. People, the talking point when people come in. And Bruce knew that I had one because I spoke to him before about it. And actually, it's his 56th year in the UK, and he came over in August 1961 or something. I can't know, 1965, and he just called me up and said, "Hey, you know that ice bike you got? Yeah. Can I ride it around Smallbrook?" Of course you can. Let's sort it out. So it was like that basically, and then I of course had to drop a note to Martin and the rest of the team to make sure that everyone was happy with it, and away we go. That's it. So I'm looking forward to that.
Lawrence has just said, that's Cribby for you. He'll bring his books to sell.
Because he actually announced it on his book page. Yeah, so that's funny.
Brilliant. What was the date on? What was the date on that again?
August the 12th.
August. So that's the day before my birthday. If
Well, there you
wants
go.
to
You
give me
know
a
how to
ticket.
celebrate.
Yeah, right, okay.
You've got a good weekend planned, haven't you? You're going to Isle of Wight, maybe going to Isle of Wight, maybe going to Bellevue. So it's
Who knows? And sort of to go back to the earlier question, what do you think are the chances of the Warriors being back in a Speedway League next year?
Hey, look, you know what? There's a lot of water gone under the bridge, really, and we were invited to come back this year, actually, and we asked if anything was going to change of the reasons why we left, and of course there was no response to that, so we can only assume that it would still be the same. And we've touched on it 1,000 times. We would be happy to do league racing, but it has to be. We have to be able to say how our own business is run, and we can't be told what we can and can't do. Regards, and have no input into that. You know, as I said, if we were at the voting table and it was agreed that the points limit was going to be whatever, and this rule was going to be implemented, and that rule was going to be implemented, then I'd have said, okay, that's great. We either decided to do it, or we'd have taken a year out and come back when the following season. But we weren't given that opportunity. We weren't given the opportunity to say how it would affect our business, how it could affect our product, how it could affect the show. We were just told, and that doesn't work for us, unfortunately. And actually, I think to a degree, we've proved, what we've put on our show on Thursday, and thanks very much to Ben Ilsley from Grass Track Banter for organising it as well for the Ireland Masters, was a fantastic show. And I know it's what the people want. They want it. They want multidiscipline speedway, and the feedback that we got, I didn't have any negative feedback. I had a holidaymaker who was shaking, stood next to me. I took him on the centre green, and we had a supercar on the centre green, and he was literally shaking with excitement with his two boys. And he said to me, "Where can I go and watch it?" I said, "Well, where do you live?" He said, "South Wales." And I said, "Probably Plymouth is your closest track." And I think that's really sad, because he was so excited about it. He loved it. He loved it. He couldn't get enough of it, And he said he loved the fact that his boys want to go and ride a Pee-wee bike, know. He loved the fact that, this week on Thursday, we've got Jowers versus GM versus Westlake, the engine challenge, all the upright boys coming over. So we want to aim at every area of the sport. And I think that's possible. And so far, touch wood, I've been delighted with our first meeting. I hope our second meeting, if it goes as 75% as good as the first one, it's going to be great.
Well, thanks for coming on, Barry. And it goes without saying that all the guys here wish you all the best for all your meetings.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I will be in touch about the score at some point soon, and we'll see what we can come up with.
Yeah, anytime. Just drop me a note. It's easily done.
And we'll come down and do some filming and some recording and stuff. And
yeah, lovely.
That'll be great.
Great stuff.
You take care. Thanks once again, mate.
No, thanks a lot. Take care, guys.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Look after yourself.
That's good.
Always good value.
Always good value, yeah.
That's a man who's
Very passionate about the sport.
I was just about to say exactly the same thing. There's a man who's so passionate.
Speaks his mind as well, which are, I know some people probably don't like it, but hey ho. Mentioning
At least you know where you stand. That's the thing.
Let's have a look at some the scores from tonight's meeting.
Oh yes, Kent versus Poole.
Kent 38, Poole 52 is the final score in that one. So
wow, another big win. Poole seemed to be
another home defeat.
Taken over from Glasgow.
Kent really struggling at the moment, aren't they? They're having some bad results at the moment, and Scott Nichols again, their top scorer, I think, with 9 points. Let's have a look then. Plymouth, of course, were in action as well. We will put the league table up shortly as well, I think.
You just reminded me, Talk amongst yourself in about 5 minutes.
And with one heat to go at Plymouth, it's 38-45 in favour of Leicester.
Well, that's one then, isn't it?
Yeah, which is one, yeah. So Richard Lawson is a guest for Jason Grumpy, scored 10 and 1 from his 4 rides. So Alfie Bartel scored 8 from reserve for Plymouth, but it is a home defeat for the Gladiators. And of course, Grumpy was apparently hoping to ride tonight, but he's decided to give it a miss. Whether he'll be back to racing tomorrow,
well, be
nice to be seen.
Be nice to see him anyway, wouldn't it? Unbeaten at Perry Bar, of course.
Yep.
Right, well, we're going to try and get through as many of these as we can, as quick as we can.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be
10 minutes.
very, very speedy. And the ones that we don't do, we'll shove up on the thing. Well, we'll shove them all up anyway, so anybody that wants to join in.
Yeah.
For those that you don't know what we're doing, this is our weekly league, and we do our predictions, and everybody predicts and gets up on the leaderboard. I can't even see that leaderboard. It's far too small.
It is small, isn't it? There was a lot of fixtures last week. That's why it's a bit smaller.
I'll get it a bit bigger in a second. Hang on, there we go. 'Cause I know you're getting on a bit, Mike. So
yeah, that's true. Well, so I know I see that I've gone down a place when considering I didn't take part. That's not a bad go.
No.
I'll just shove it over so people can see it. There we go.
Lawrence Rogers isn't on the bottom anymore.
No. And please do join in, even if you haven't played before.
Yeah.
It's a bit of fun.
Okay, so we'll start with. Let's try and get this sort of quickly now. Birmingham versus Plymouth.
10-point win for Birmingham.
10-point win for Birmingham.
Yes, I've got that down. 10 point for Birmingham.
I'm going to say
10 point.
I'm going. Come on, we beat Redcar by 20 points.
You've written it down.
Yeah.
20 point win for Brum.
Someone's actually done a bit of prep for the
20
show.
point.
Someone's done a bit of
20
prep
point
for the
win
show.
for Poole versus Leicester. Go, Chris.
I'll go Leicester. No, Paul. 49-41.
49-41. I'll say Poole by 6.
Okay.
I'll say a draw. That's a difficult one to call, that is actually, isn't it? Because Leicester, as I say, with Hans Anderson now, are a lot stronger. But
Okay, Ipswich versus Kings Lynn. I'm going to say Ipswich by 16.
Ipswich by 8.
I'll go 46-44 Ipswich.
Okie dokie. Belvoir versus Leicester National League.
Bellevue by 10.
You might go.
Mm-hmm.
48-42 Bellevue.
And I'm going to say Bellevue by 10 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Edinburgh versus Brum Knockout Cup.
I'll go. Oh, you're going to hate me. I'll go Edinburgh 48-42. Possible?
I'd settle for that, to be honest.
Okay.
In fact, I'm going to say Edinburgh by 6.
I'm going to say Edinburgh by 8.
So we all think it's...
I think Birmingham will get run them close.
Can you tell I've researched this week?
We'll find out when the results come in. Redcar versus Kent. Well, that'll be an 18-point win for Redcar.
22-point win for Redcar.
Well, I'm just going to go for a 10-point win.
Okay.
Red car.
Scunthorpe versus Poole.
Scunthorpe by 4. Scunthorpe are good as well. They're doing well at home, aren't
But Poole are doing well
Right.
everywhere.
they? Yeah.
Yeah, Scunthorpe versus Poole.
I'll go 49-41.
I'm going to say a draw. Glasgow versus Berwick, I believe that's yours.
Glasgow by 10.
Knockout Cup, that is. See
Glasgow by 12.
there? Oh, was my go, but I'm going to say Glasgow by 8. Yeah, because it really depends on guests and stuff.
Yeah.
And what we were saying earlier, Ulrich's average hasn't moved up to what he's currently
No, I
doing.
don't think it has, is it? So.
Eastbourne versus Plymouth. I'm going to say Eastbourne by 22.
Eastbourne by 14.
Eastbourne by 10.
Leicester versus Birmingham.
Leicester by 12.
Leicester by 10.
Leicester by 6.
West Midland derby of the season.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
So confident.
Berwick versus Glasgow Knockout Cup. Who's this? Is this mine, is it? No, it's not. It's got to be Chris's because I did the last one.
I'll go 53-37.
53-37 to Berwick.
Yeah.
I'm going to say a draw.
I'm going to say Glasgow by 2.
So we both think it's going to be close then. Eastbourne versus Armadale. I'm going to say 16 points to Eastbourne. That's National League, by the way,
Yeah.
obviously.
Armadale by 4.
Okay. That's the total difference of opinion there.
Mm.
I'll go Armadale by 6.
Okay, okay. Newcastle versus Berwick.
Berwick by 6.
I'll go a draw.
I'll say Berwick by 8.
Newcastle's struggling, aren't they? Big
Yeah.
sale, so.
Another National League. Mildenhall versus Armadale.
Mildenhall by 6.
Mildenhall by 6 again.
Draw.
Okay. Bellevue versus Ipswich. I'm going to say Bellevue by 14.
Bellevue by 10.
I'll go Bellevue by 10 as well.
Kings Lynn versus Sheffield.
Ooh.
Ooh, yeah.
I'll say Kings Lynn for that one. Kings Lynn by 4.
Okay.
I'm going to go for a draw again.
Well, I was going to do that. I'm going to say Kings Lynn by 2 just to be different.
Okay.
Wolves versus Peterborough.
I'll go Wolves by 10.
That's going to be quite an interesting meeting. I'm going to say Wolves by 8.
Well, I was going to say Wolves by 8 as well.
Kent versus Eastbourne.
41-49 Eastbourne.
Yeah, I'm going to say 6 points to Eastbourne.
I'm going to say 2 points to Kent.
You just want Kent to win, don't you?
Fairly tough, haven't they, so far?
Yeah, and Plymouth versus Edinburgh. Is this down to me, is it?
It was me just so.
Okay, right. So Plymouth versus Edinburgh. Ooh. 14-point win to Edinburgh.
14-point win.
24-point win to Edinburgh.
I'll go 10-point win.
Yeah.
Well, we got through those quicker than we've ever done.
Yeah.
Loads and loads of people had to go.
I wouldn't rule Edinburgh out of this championship race, to be honest.
No, oh God, no.
Very well.
No, I wouldn't at all. I would. There's not many teams at the moment that I would rule out.
Mm-hmm.
Given Newcastle is the obvious one.
Yeah. I would say if I was a betting man at the moment, I would probably put the top 4 as Glasgow, Edinburgh, Poole, and Leicester. But that might change.
Yeah, you got that wrong because Birmingham's not in there. You forgot, didn't you?
No, I didn't forget. I didn't forget Birmingham were in there. So
yeah,
it's going to be tight, isn't it? It's shaping up to be a really good championship season, I think. So.
And conversely, I also think it's shaping up to be quite a good Premiership, even though there are only
6 teams.
6 teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just, when you look, when Eurosport do the different tables and you see...
It just gets every year it's like that, isn't it? So.
And then they do the the Championship one. And goes,
it's a real shame that that Eurosport weren't there last night, to be honest, because that would have been a fantastic meeting to have shown. I mean, it's always great value when Wolves Bellevue race each other, mainly because there's always a little bit of needle as well. Because it's fair to say that the relationship, I think, with both sets of fans isn't great. So at times.
What's Dylan Spuddy got to say?
Also, I want to wish Geordie Stewart a speedy recovery after the announcement he won't be returning to the track this season. It'll be interesting to see who Redcar signed to replace him.
So I hadn't
seen that, no.
So, well, speedy recovery and sad that he won't, because that's an accident that happened at Birmingham, wasn't it? But yeah. Who will replace him? I mean, what's his average?
Well, he's still going to be on the same average, isn't he? Because he's not completed that many meetings for Redcar, so...
I don't know who would be available. I don't agree with Leicester 53, Birmingham 35, by the way, Jeff. Just so that you know. I'll remember that.
It's an odd score as well. There's going to be a couple of 3-0s in there, and maybe 5-0s. Yeah. I've seen a few of them over the years.
Oh, he's changed it. Yeah. It's no better, though. It's 54-36 now.
I've seen a few of those over the years, 5-0s and 3-2s, and I've even seen a 0-0 once. Yeah.
We'll have to talk about that next week. Talking of which, it's surprisingly time to go.
Yep.
Thank you to everybody that's taken part tonight. Thank you to Barry Bishop for coming on. Anybody that ever wants to come on, you may come on. Just got to ring us up and we'll sort it from there. All the best, everyone. Hope you stay clear from all the flooding, and all the best to you and your Speedway team. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
GA and Matt are here today. Welcome to the Speedway Tavern.